Did you just pick up Chivalry 2 in a recent sale? Maybe subscribe to PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass and you're just starting this game out for free. Whatever it may be, this game is always receiving new players, with it being such a unique game and a huge learning curve and an enormous skill ceiling. This game can be a little daunting for new players. In today's video, I want to go over 7 things you are doing wrong in Chivalry 2. Let's get right into it. I quickly want to plug in my new Discord server I just made. If you're looking for a place to hang out, meet new people, talk to me, and play some games, be some of the first people to join. It's brand new. And I'll also be posting announcements and even random and real life stuff on there. I've also had people asking to duel me, so if that's you, join in and hit me up and I'll be more than happy and we can set that up. Link will be in my bio and in the description of this video. Kicking too much and holding block. Now kicking. So with kicking, I feel like it's such a noob trap. A lot of new people will just kick and kick and kick as their like main source of offense, and that's your biggest mistake. So like I got one of my comment in one of my in my ultimate guide video. This guy said, why was there no leg kick technique in this video, or you just don't use it in high level combat? Oh, yes and no. With high level stuff, yeah, a lot of guys don't kick often because a lot of times it doesn't work. Kicks are easily telegraphed. Once you start kind of like playing this game enough, you'll see the animation and you'll see the kick, and all you do is just swing and you're gonna get a free hit. So a lot of high level dudes, they don't really do it because you're gonna get punished. And here's another clip of the same guy. See, he kind of like just walks towards me. You can see the animation. You just excel and you get a free hit, you know. And this guy's a newer player, so that's kind of what I mean. And even in other team objective games too, I'll run into players that like they'll constantly just try to kick me, and then they'll try to kick me, and some of them like really over exaggerate it, and they'll kick over and over and over, and I'm just like, dude, like stop it. Like I can clearly see you're kicking, you know. And I think it's just such a trap because the tutorial teaches kicks, and to be honest, the tutorial isn't that great, right? So I think a lot of people, they just think, oh, this is how I get my damage, by kicking, but it's just far from the truth. And if you're anywhere near a new player, I would recommend try to not kick, because it's going to develop bad habits. Try to work on drags, excels, work on learning how to counter consistently. Do those things, because that is what it's going to get you free hits. Kicking is not it. Okay, so I want to show you another example in high level gameplay. So this is Funeral Thirst, one of the best players in this game. Look, goes for a kick, ineffective, right? They're going to break off here in a second. Goes for another kick, ineffective. Then he's going to go for a third. Another kick, didn't work. So the main thing I'm trying to get across here is, if you're a newer player, I would say almost forget about kicks. Forget they exist. It's going to lead to frustration. You're going to get your hits off of conditioning your opponent with fast attacks, excels, you know, using that camera, feinting attacks, and drags. And honestly, in things like team objective, you really don't need to be kicking often, with one exception. So here I go for an attack, and see this guy is just holding block. You know, probably a new player doesn't know. This is exactly what you don't want to be doing. And I know that it's a habit of his, because here he goes for a stab, instantly blocks again. You always want to be reactive when it comes to holding block. It drains a lot of stamina, and then it opens you up for kicks. So this is where it comes into play. If you see your opponent doing this, then throw your kicks. Otherwise, don't even worry about it. Okay, so we talked about when you should be throwing kicks. Now, if you are going to throw a kick, don't just press your kick key and just let it fly. There's something you can do with kicks that makes the animation a little bit harder to read and kind of like lower to the ground. Now, in case you missed it, look at this kick right here. Look how it's kind of lower to the ground. It's like a low profile kick. Now here's back with Funeral Thirst here. He throws this kick right here. And as you can see, it's much like low profile and harder to read, and you're more likely to land the kick, in my experience, than just pressing the kick button, you know. And the way you perform it, all you do is look down and kind of swipe up and then press your kick key, and it'll kind of do that. It's kind of like when you're kicking a body, like, you know, when you're like, people are BMing and you kick someone's body on the ground. That's what you're doing, and you can land a kick by doing that. And last thing about kick, so instead of just pressing your kick button, you can actually, there's 2 other ways you can kick. You can riposte off a kick, and then you can feint into a kick. So you see here, I swing and then feint into the kick. So those are ways that, you know, are a little bit different to give you a better chance to landing your kick. And before anybody comes at me, I've gotten some comments about this, but you can say riposte 2 ways, riposte or riposte.
and in French it is said as riposte. Therefore, in English, you may sometimes hear it said as riposte, riposte. However, most of the times, in English, it is said as riposte, riposte, but sometimes riposte.
I don't know why I say it that way, it just rolls off the tongue for me. Anyways, let's move on with the video. Don't counter everything. So this might sound a little counterintuitive, like, what do you mean I'm not supposed to counter everything? Like, I learned how to counter, now I can counter, so I'm not supposed to counter anymore? Yes and no. So there's benefits to countering, like gaining stamina. You stay in the fight so you don't lose your weapon. You get an active parry window on 1vx's. But when you're countering everything and that's all you're doing, you're putting yourself to be one-dimensional and easy to read. You're not really doing anything different. You want to throw ripostes that come out super fast and excel those attacks, so you can condition your opponent and sometimes catch them on gambles. Like, a lot of times when you riposte, excel, look down, and throw an overhead, it comes out so fast, and you'll catch people that on gambles that are not blocking. And what you just saw, this is in the B-roll. I'm doing exactly that. See right here, I just purposely don't counter, and I throw 2 overhead riposte excels. It almost breaks his shield, and it's doing stamina damage. If he didn't have a shield, it's gonna punish his stamina depending on the weapon, especially overheads. So again, it's not about countering. You want to make sure you're mixing up those ripostes and excelling them. And this is actually something personal. I just want to show you guys who actually put me on this and taught me this. So he went by the name Connax. He was a really good player. I don't think he plays anymore. I don't see him. So he goes, "Your Vanguard, you don't need a counter bot." And I'm like, "Bot?" question mark. I was confused. He just kind of messaged me, and I was like only countering. You keep countering, so I just drag. And I'm like, yeah, to be honest, I always try to counter. I don't try to riposte ever. Bad habit. Something I never really considered is what I said. And he's like, should be 80% riposte, 20% counters. You know, Vanguard has more stamina. So he kind of like put me on to like thinking about riposting, and like kind of like it just made sense to me after that. I was like, wait, like that's so smart. Like, what am I doing just countering everything? Now I want to show you a duel I had here. See, look, we kind of have different tempos. He does a little spin, and I go for a riposte stab. He does it right back. A riposte stab is something that can catch a lot of people off guard, because they might just be, you know, they're expecting a counter, you know, like, oh, you slash, but then instead you block that and you just randomly stab, right? It's something that just works, and it comes out pretty fast. And then check this out. I riposte overhead, and look how fast his riposte overhead was on a Highland sword. Let's look at that one more time. Here's my Excel overhead riposte, and here's his. It is so fast. It catches people off guard. And again, if I would have blocked it and didn't counter, it would have done damage to my stamina. It just works. And you can do that with any weapon. And here I want to show you a couple TO examples here. So here, engaging a longsword, I get a counter feint, and then I instantly go for a riposte overhead excel. And look, he tries gambling me a faster weapon, and I take him out. So as you can see, even a longsword gamble can't keep up. And one more example. So here I switch over to this guy, hit him, we're gonna combo, then we're gonna jab him up, go back to this guy, we're gonna counter this, switch over to the archer dude, take him out, counter this, and then here I'm actually gonna go for a riposte overhead, but he already dies. But as you can see, like that's kind of my tempo: counter, counter, riposte, riposte, counter, riposte, counter, counter, you know, with some feints here and there. So you're just mixing it up. Now, last thing that I'll say about this, as a new player, if you don't know how to counter yet, I would actually recommend countering everything. You need to learn how to do it. So first, just learn how to counter, because it's better to counter everything than not knowing how to counter at all, losing your weapon constantly, not being able to 1vx and team objective. So at the beginning, counter everything. Once you get that down, then kind of do your little riposte, your excels and all that, right? Obviously still stick to feints, all that kind of stuff. But at the beginning, I would say try to get that countering down. And to do that, you kind of need to counter everything and really get it down in practice. I mean, I would say go to the duel yard. Go to the duel yard and practice those counters. Stop crouching too much. Now, this is something that I actually had a habit of doing, and I'll show some clips. But when I would duel, and even, you know, whatever, just playing in general, I would crouch spam while fighting. You know, I'm like, you know, swinging, counter, crouch, crouch, crouch. Like, I would just dude. And there was a point I actually even like broke my control key with my pinky eventually, because I would use control so much in this game, because I would spam it. I would spam it so much. And I see other players do this too. And it's usually kind of newer, mid-tier players, I guess you could say. It's a waste of time. when you crouch, your stamina just stays stagnant, right? So you're not gaining stamina. So you're just like hindering yourself by crouch spamming, and it's just really like you're not doing anything, you know? Like I said, I don't know why I did it in the past. It was a habit of mine, but I eventually stopped doing it, and I do not do it anymore. I only crouch in certain circumstances, like kind of avoiding a jab, crouching back, or, you know, I don't, if I want to be fancy, crouching a slash or something like that. But yeah, I'm really not like you're kind of just crouching to avoid attacks. Sometimes it's kind of like a niche thing, but yeah, you don't really want to be crouch spamming. All right, let's look at the clip together. This is my first time watching this. This is from 2024. This is me. Look at all that crouching I'm doing. Look at that. I'm just crouching for no reason. Look at this. Like, I know how to, like, at this point when I was playing this game, I knew how to counter decently. But look at all that crouching. That's insane. And see, look at my stamina. It's terrible. I was so bad. This is crazy. It's pretty funny looking at old clips of yourself. Like, you just kind of open up, your eyes get opened up to like how much you've improved. But yeah, dude, this is bad. I mean, my gameplay in general here was bad, but like, yeah, that was way too much crouching. So I even did that back in the day. Now, there's one more thing I want to show when it comes to crouch spamming and with crouching, and it has to do with excel crouches. A lot of players, even like high-level players I see in the duel yard, they always will crouch to get a faster excelling. And I tested this, with Duke of Coxwell. I don't think this does anything. I think it's a waste of stamina, and it's like hardly a difference, if anything. So on the left side, I technically take the hit like a frame faster, but I initiate the attack, like showing them on screen as close as I can. The hit markers, as you can see here, that is damn near the same. And at the end of the day, it's always going to be different when you're actually playing. Like when you initiate the attack, all the timing is going to be different. And I understand here on the right, I was a little bit closer to him. Now, I don't know if that actually matters, but still, they're both very, 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 very similar. And on the left side, I was crouching. So you would think, oh yeah, it should be a lot faster, but it's not. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. Here's the footage. If you look at that and you think it's worth it, keep on crouching. But in my opinion, it's just too close. Like, it's damn near the same. So all you're doing is wasting stamina. And in my opinion, you kind of ruin the flow of like your gameplay, because, you know, at least if control on keyboard and mouse, if that's your crouch key, then you're making more inputs, you know, in order to crouch. And on controller, I don't know what's the crouch button, but you know what I mean? Like, if you're not thinking about crouching constantly and little things like that, then I think in general your gameplay is just going to be better. Again, you're not wasting stamina, and you're probably just going to be a little bit better than trying to focus on excel crouching. And real quick, if you hit subscribe, we're nearing 2,000 subscribers. We're not that close, but I mean, hey, we can get there pretty fast. Like the video if you like it. It's currently 3 in the morning on my only day off. Well, technically it's Monday morning. My only day off. I worked 6 days this past week, like plus 60 hours, and I'm trying to like edit this video and get it out before I go to sleep. Yeah, so dude, if you could subscribe, go ahead. Drop a comment, you know, whatever you think about this video, some of these tips, you know, I try to reply to as many comments as I can. Excessive dodging. Now, this is, again, something that a lot of new players do a little bit too much. Now, what does dodging do? You obviously dodge out the way, but it uses up stamina. It can waste your stamina if you're not doing it optimally. And a lot of times I'm seeing newer players make this mistake where, you know, even in team objective, wherever, they'll just dodge and dodge and dodge way too much, and it's just wasting their stamina. And on top of that, a lot of times they don't even know how to counter, you know, consistently. So you're now dodging, you're wasting stamina, you don't even know how to counter consistently, and so then it's just a recipe for disaster, and you're just losing your weapon constantly, right? If you are losing your weapon constantly, this is probably why. So let's actually break down the B-roll footage you just saw. So check this out. Hit the first guy, and I dodge out because I got a guy to my right. So I dodge out to my left. I'm trying to get a better position because I got 3 dudes around me with a golden dog. That's a blunt weapon with no range, right? It's horrible. Okay, I dodge out. I'm trying to get a hit off this other guy, catch a counter on the other guy, so I couldn't hit. Okay, I dodge this way because I got 2 guys to my left, you know, so I'm trying to get away. I need them to be in front of me, not surrounding me. So in 1vx's 100%, you want to be dodging to get yourself in a good position. Here's going to be another good example of a good dodging. So 1vx, we're going to stab out to that guy, dodge immediately, stab him again, and now work the two guys and kind of get ourselves out of the situation. And yeah, so most of the time in 1vx's, I would say I'm probably dodging most of the time. So that's definitely the best case scenario. 1vx's, you want to dodge, you want to keep them like in front of you, kind of like a cone in front of you. Because right when they're like in your ribs and behind you, right, you can't do nothing. Now I'm going to show you an example of bad dodging. So this is a newer player, but look at him. Every attack he does, he's pretty much dodging. How I'm abusing it, I'm feinting. So it kind of gives that extra second window, and then my attack lands because kind of feinting off his dodging. And I just want to show here, look, I crouch and kind of matrix dodge back with the stab, just to kind of show that you don't have to dodge and waste stamina to kind of avoid attacks. As you can see, all I really do is try to stay close to him as possible and even feint when necessary. He hits me here, right? So staying close to him, feint, staying close to him, feinting. But yeah, so like if you are brand spanking new and you might be doing this, kind of dodging a little bit too much, yeah, just stop doing it now. You're gonna develop a really bad habit, and it's not good. You know, obviously this guy is super new, probably didn't really have a chance, but hey, you gotta face stronger people than you to get better. I mean, like that's how I was back in the day too. When I first started in the duel yard, just facing cracked out people, and I just, you know, started getting better over and over and over. I mean, you saw the footage when I was talking about crouching too much. I was like terrible. And I know there's like kind of play styles with the war club of like dodge gambling. I wouldn't really recommend it. I think it's easily counterable. As long as you stay on them, you riposte excel, you can abuse dodge gambling. And the best players I know in this game do not dodge gamble. So I don't know. That's kind of, you know, I'll say it like that. But if it works for you, I mean, go ahead. And lastly, the best case for dodging is special attacks. Right when you see someone winding up that special attack on you, just kind of get on them and dodge out to the right or left, and you'll avoid them, throw an attack right away, and you'll punish them for it. Number 5, too many heavy attacks. Now I think we can keep this one kind of short. So if you're heavy attacking too much, you're being predictable. You're also wasting stamina. It also can be easy to hit you. Now, as you can see right there, I did a heavy attack. Why? Because he wasn't looking at me. So that's probably one of my other points is if they're like in team objective, you're rolling up on somebody and you see their back is facing you, yeah, go ahead and overhead heavy and you're going to get a nice juicy attack on them, right? And remember when we were talking about earlier in the video, you want to condition your opponent with fast excels, and then you kind of throw in sparingly those heavy attacks, the feints, because that's what's going to sell, right? You want to sell those attacks, because if you're just throwing out heavies like that, especially on slow weapons, like the Highland Sword, yeah, that's probably where new players or players that try out the Highland Sword get a little frustrated, like, oh, this thing's so clunky, and it is. But yeah, if you're just spamming heavy attacks, like, you know, like look at this clip, like I'm really not heavy attacking in these engagements right here, but really just heavy attack when the opponent's not watching you and on some of those drags, right? But like, and a lot of these 1vx's, you really don't need it. And yeah, look, that entire life did not heavy attack one time because I don't need to, and it's, you know, and it would have probably gotten me hit. Now let's look at a little quick duel here where I only utilize a heavy attack a single time. Okay, so we're just kind of feeling it out, kind of regular speed attacks, counters. Okay, feign out this one, we get one hit, jabbing him up. We excel riposte here. We drag out a light attack, so you can drag out light attacks. Little 360 overhead, dodge out a little slash, excel into him, he counters it, and then I heavy counter at the same time, drag that out for the killing blow. So as you can see, heavy attacks are not mandatory. You want to condition your opponent, and then when you do throw out a nice heavy, it works. Just be careful, don't throw them too much. Number 6, spamming jabs. Now don't get me wrong, jabs are amazing. You know, by doing so, you will neutralize the initiative. You'll kind of get guys off of you, kind of just reset a little bit, does a little bit of damage with shields. You know, the small shield does the most damage, and then the heavy shields do the least amount of damage, you know, just in case you didn't know, right? Jabs can be annoying, but spamming them can be abused, and a good player will abuse your jabs. Exhibit A. So me and this dude dueling, he tries jabbing me, back up with the stab. So slow that down. So look at it a little bit slowly. So look, pull one of these, look at that form. You just, once you know you hit somebody, a lot of times you know they're gonna jab you. So if you just back up, crouch, and stab, you'll literally get another free hit. And sometimes people will do it again and again and again, and you just can farm free hits. Or this little walk-up people do. What does this mean? You're gonna get jabbed. Wait for it, block, and riposte it, and you're gonna get a free hit off a jab. I'm gonna show you like a really good example of abusing jabs by just blocking them. So this was a duel a long time ago, but a really good duel, you know, against a one-hander. So right here, we're just exchanging. I'm trying to be on top of him with excels. I land a hit here. He jabs, block it, and look, he jabs again. And see, I actually feinted by accident. I could have punished him twice and probably ended the duel right there. Because I threw a stab, but I feinted it, you know, not really knowing he was going to jab again. But yeah, sometimes people will like jab over and over and over and over. And if you just kind of back up and whatever, like you can just get like free hits like that. Right here, I feint. He gambles me. I jab him. We share a jab. Look at that nasty spin he had right there. I ended up winning the duel here with just 2 riposte excels, and right here got him on a gamble, and he didn't commend me. All in all, jabs are great, but the best way is keep it in mind when you hit somebody, when you land that hit, and if they're like a decent player, even average, a lot of people they'll jab a lot too. Just kind of expect a jab, and you just can kind of muscle memory block it and throw a riposte. You might get a free hit or put damage on their stamina. Right? Or you can kind of do what I showed you earlier with the backup stab. Kind of you back up, crouch, stab, and you'll just get a free hit because they're stuck in a jab animation. So, you know. My last tip, play Vanguard and stick to a few weapons. Now, why? Now, if you are a new player and you're switching up a lot of weapons, now look, at the end of the day, you know, you can have the fun that you want and do whatever you want, right? But if you are looking to, like, you really want to improve, you're like, man, like, I really want to get better, you know, then I would say stick to like 2 weapons, 3 weapons max, and probably play Vanguard because Vanguard has the most stamina of all the classes. So you're gonna have more leeway and not getting your weapon knocked, especially while you're learning how to counter, right? So you'll have more leeway. You have a little bit less health. Like a knight, you'll have a little bit more health, but I don't know. I think, in my opinion, that a Vanguard will teach you better habits. You have a little bit less health, but you have more stamina. And on top of that, if you didn't know, a lot of the two-handers have larger counter windows, meaning it's easier to counter. It's easier to land counters. It is harder to land counters with one-handed weapons, with fast one-handed weapons, right? Because sometimes, like, I don't really use one-handers, but when I do switch over, I can feel the difference sometimes. So if you are maybe struggling to really get down your counters, but all you use is fast one-handed weapons, maybe that's kind of why. So like I would say, you know, try out the Messer and some other two-handed weapons that you, so that way you can get a hang of countering because it's easier, and you have the Vanguard clash, which means you have more stamina. And I'm telling you, once you learn how to counter and you're just out there countering everything, it makes the game so much more fun, and you genuinely are just way better. If you're a new player and a lot of the weapons you're playing are like the falchion or like that one-handed sword, it might be hard for you to get counters down, especially with this game, man. Because, dude, when I first started and I was trying to get counters down, it was hard. It wasn't easy. Like, I had to practice. But once you get it, you, like, never forget it. And it's legit muscle memory. At least in my experience, it's muscle memory. But yeah, boys, that's going to be it. That's going to be 7 of the most common mistakes that I see out of a lot of newer players in this game. I try to kind of be as detailed as possible and show all of these examples. Dude, honestly, yeah, this thing is over 20 minutes long. That's crazy. I legit thought this video, because like I was like, oh yeah, 7 mistakes. I thought it was gonna be like a 12-minute video, you know. But anyways, yeah, so if you really found anything in this video helpful, you know, let me know in the comments, and you know, give me a like, man. I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you.